American rivers are recovering at speeds that have stunned scientists and engineers, and the evidence keeps mounting in ways nobody predicted. Baltimore, over $56 billion has flowed into federal water infrastructure investment. Baltimore's trash wheel fleet alone has intercepted more than 2,500 tons of debris. Rivers once declared biologically dead now support thriving ecosystems, and what's happening isn't gradual improvement, but genuine acceleration. At the mouth of the Jones Falls in Baltimore's Inner Harbor sits the most unlikely celebrity in American environmental engineering, a googly-eyed solar and water-powered debris interceptor named Mr. Trash Wheel. The concept came from John Kellett, an environmental scientist and former Baltimore Maritime Museum director who crossed a footbridge daily and watched trash flowing into the harbor like a conveyor belt of garbage. Kellett called the city in 2006, and they told him they were open to ideas. What he delivered was deceptively simple, harnessing the river's own current to power a wheel that rakes floating garbage onto a conveyor belt and deposits it into dumpsters. The Abell Foundation funded a $375,000 prototype in 2008, and after years of refinement, the improved Mr. Trash Wheel deployed on May 9, 2014. What happened next exceeded every projection. Within its first week, the wheel collected 11 tons in a single day. On April 20, 2015, heavy storms pushed debris downstream, and the machine pulled 19 tons from the water in just 24 hours. That's 38,000 pounds. Baltimore now operates 4 of these machines. Professor Trash Wheel arrived in December 2016 after a crowdfunding campaign raised $550,000, and Captain Trash Wheel followed in June 2018 under Maryland Port Administration ownership. The largest of the fleet, Gwynda the Good Wheel, deployed in June 2021 with 72 solar panels and a grappling arm designed to grab larger debris. Collectively, this fleet has removed over 2,500 tons of debris, more than 5 million pounds total. The haul includes nearly 2 million plastic bottles and 12.6 million cigarette butts. And in 2015, they even extracted a live ball python that went viral across social media. The year 2023 set a new record when the family collected over 1 million pounds. Here's where the economics get interesting. Each wheel costs between $400,000 and $800,000 to build, with annual operating costs running $100,000 to $200,000. That works out to roughly 20 cents per pound of trash removed, a fraction of what traditional skimmer boats cost. Baltimore's Department of Public Works spends approximately $1.3 million annually on harbor marine operations and collects about 420 tons, while the trash wheels collect more for less money. And the data these machines gather has driven real policy change. After Maryland implemented a statewide foam container ban in 2020, becoming the first state to do so, the wheels documented an 85 to 90% reduction in foam debris. Plastic bag bans produced a 72% drop in bag collection. Adam Lindquist, former director of the Healthy Harbor Initiative, put the long-term vision simply when he said their ultimate goal is to put Mr. Trash Wheel out of a job. In April 2025, the Baltimore Ravens and Bisciotti Foundation announced a $3.75 million 5-year partnership aimed at removing 5 million more pounds of debris and growing 5 million oysters by 2030. And a 5th trash wheel is reportedly in planning. 3,000 miles west, Los Angeles faced a different challenge at a different scale. When the ocean cleanup shipped its Interceptor 007 to Los Angeles in October 2022, engineers based their expectations on historical trash flow data from Ballona Creek and estimated the device would capture roughly 60 tons during its pilot period. It captured more than 125 tons, over 250,000 pounds, and that's more than double the anticipated amount. Mark Pastrella, director of LA County Public Works, put it bluntly when he said its performance exceeded their wildest expectations. The Interceptor sits at the mouth of Ballona Creek near Marina del Rey, serving as the last line of defense before debris reaches Santa Monica Bay and the Pacific Ocean. During rain events, a V-shaped boom configuration funnels floating trash toward a conveyor belt that extracts debris and distributes it across 6 onboard dumpsters, and the fully automated solar-powered system sends automatic notifications when those dumpsters fill up. The 2022 to 2023 storm season alone saw the Interceptor capture 155,000 pounds, with nearly two-thirds being inorganic material like plastics, styrofoam, and other persistent pollutants. A single collection operation pulled out nearly 20,000 pounds. Boyan Slat founded the Ocean Cleanup at age 18 and now serves as its 30-year-old CEO. He called the Bologna performance pretty exceptionally high in terms of efficacy. And in October 2024, the LA County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to make the Interceptor permanent. Measure W, the Safe Clean Water Program. Voters approved in 2018 has allocated over $250 million to 30 regional projects in the LA River watershed alone. More than 800 water quality improvement projects are now planned in development or completed. Volunteer efforts continue matching that scale. Friends of the LA River was founded in 1986 by poet-activist Lewis McAdams, who described it as a 40-year artwork to bring the river back to life. The organization now operates the largest urban river cleanup in the United States, and their annual Great LA River Cleanup has mobilized roughly 50,000 volunteers over 34 years while removing a cumulative 1.6 million pounds of trash. Ecological recovery is becoming visible. The least Bell's vireo, an endangered songbird absent from Taylor Yard for decades, has returned. Army Corps Project Manager Priyanka Wadhawan describes LA's 11-mile federal ecosystem restoration project as one of the largest urban ecosystem restoration projects in the world, with completion targeted for the 2028 Olympics. Understanding the true scale of what infrastructure investment can achieve requires looking at Chicago, where on September 21, 2025, 500 swimmers dove into the Cuyahoga River for a 1-mile race through downtown. That was the first officially sanctioned swim in 98 years, since the last public swim in 1927. Participant Chris Sheehan emerged surprised, saying it actually exceeded his expectations because he could see his hand the whole time, and it just smelled like water. Reaching that milestone took decades and billions of dollars. The Cuyahoga River was once so polluted that animal carcasses from slaughterhouses caused the water to bubble with methane and hydrogen sulfide. A 1911 photograph captured a man and chicken standing on the river's solidified surface, and contaminated water caused repeated cholera and typhoid epidemics that killed thousands. The transformation demanded one of the largest civil engineering projects in history, the Tunnel and Reservoir Plan, known locally as the Deep Tunnel. The project carved out 110 miles of tunnels measuring 8 to 33 feet in diameter, drilled 150 to 350 feet underground. 3 massive reservoirs anchor the system. The Thornton Composite Reservoir, completed in 2015, holds 7.9 billion gallons and stands as the largest combined sewer overflow facility in the world. The McCook Reservoir will hold 10 billion gallons when completed in 2032. Total system capacity reaches 17.5 billion gallons, equivalent to 4,666 gallons per person in the service area. That capacity came at a cost of approximately $3.1 billion over more than 30 years of construction. The system has captured over 1 trillion gallons of combined sewage that would otherwise have entered the river. Before the deep tunnel, Chicago averaged 100 days per year of sewer overflows, and after tunnel completion in 2006, that number dropped to 50 days, a 50% reduction. Areas served by the Thornton Reservoir saw combined sewer overflows virtually eliminated. Until 2015, Chicago remained the last major U.S. city not disinfecting its treated sewage. That changed with a $61.7 million UV disinfection facility at O'Brien Water Reclamation Plant, the world's largest, treating up to 450 million gallons daily with 896 UV lamps. Biological recovery has been dramatic. The Cuyahoga River supported just 10 fish species in 1974, but today that number exceeds 77. A 2025 Shed Aquarium study documented 24 fish species successfully spawning in the river, the first such evidence ever recorded. Researchers found pollution-intolerant species like brook silverside and mimic shiner. Witch doctor Austin Happel called a pleasant surprise. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District collected a largemouth bass weighing more than 4 pounds in 2022, the largest since sampling began in 1974. Margaret Frisbee, executive director of Friends of the Cuyahoga River, reflected on what seemed impossible in 1979 when the organization was founded. Back then, imagining the river alive with activity above and below the water, with the US EPA demanding water clean enough for swimming, seemed unthinkable. Volunteer cleanups have removed 1.9 million pounds of garbage since 1992. An annual Cuyahoga River Day now mobilizes nearly 3,000 volunteers at over 90 sites. No American river carries more symbolic weight than Ohio's Cuyahoga. Fire swept across its surface at least 13 times between 1868 and 1969. The famous Time magazine photograph depicting flames on the water actually shows the 1952 blaze, which caused $1.3 million in damage. The 1969 fire lasted less than 30 minutes and caused only $50,000 in damage. But that blaze became a symbol that helped push the Clean Water Act into law. A 1968 assessment delivered a blunt verdict that animal life does not exist. Surveyors found only 2 fish species, bluegill and invasive goldfish, at a single site out of 22 sampled. The Cuyahoga now supports more than 60 fish species, including pollution-sensitive steelhead trout, northern pike, smallmouth bass, and walleye. Ohio EPA lifted fish consumption restrictions in March 2019, declaring Cuyahoga fish safe to eat. That summer, the river hosted its first public fish fry in generations. Jane Goodman, executive director of Cuyahoga River Restoration, captured the transformation when she said, "You can eat the fish in the Cuyahoga River. And now that the water is clean and the fish are back, it is so clean and glorious that everybody wants to be there." 5 of 10 original beneficial use impairments have been removed, including beach closings in September 2024 and fish tumors or other deformities in August 2023. Full delisting as an area of concern is targeted for 2030. Project Clean Lake stands as the largest infrastructure project in Northeast Ohio history. A $3 billion, 25-year program running from 2011 to 2035. 7 underground storage tunnels will capture 1.5 billion gallons of combined sewer overflow annually when complete, reducing overflows by 98%. The Westerly Storage Tunnel alone, completed in 2023, will slash Cuyahoga River overflows from 288 million gallons to just 10 million gallons annually. The most ambitious current undertaking targets the the reintroduction of more than 600 fat mucket mussels, a species declared functionally extinct in the watershed. Jennifer Greaser of Cleveland Metro Parks by 2022, the largest count in 4 years, with 36% being natural origin rather than hatchery raised. October 2023 dam removal, completed in October 2024, produced even faster results. Chinook salmon began migrating into previously blocked habitat within days, not months or years. 420 analysis of recovery patterns arrived at a simple conclusion when it stated that rivers heal faster than we. 21 committed over $50 billion to the EPA for water infrastructure, the single largest federal investment in water in U.S. history. That includes $11.7 billion for Clean Water's 22 of 25 remaining U.S. sites to complete cleanup work by 2030, chasing it downstream. Baltimore's trash wheels and LA's Interceptor demonstrate that well-positioned technology at river mouths can capture enormous volumes at relatively low cost. Infrastructure creates compounding returns over time. Chicago's $3+ billion investment has captured over 1 trillion gallons of sewage, preventing that volume from ever reaching the river. The Thornton Reservoir alone delivers an estimated $40 million per year in flood control benefits to 556,000 people. Data drives policy in measurable ways. Baltimore's trash wheels provided the evidence base for foam and plastic bag bans that produced those 85 to 90% and 72% reductions. Dam removal on LA's volunteers have pulled 1.6 million pounds of trash, while a robot captures twice what designers predicted. 22 of 25 degraded Great Lakes sites are on track for cleanup completion by 2030. These aren't projections or aspirations, but actual measurements, and the numbers keep improving. Tom Kiernan of American Rivers offered perspective when he said that in a time when people might feel anxious about climate change or get depressed about the state of the environment, positive signs in river restoration can be motivating. America is cleaning up its rivers, and it's working faster than anyone expected. If you found this interesting, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. We explore stories like this every week, where engineering meets real environmental results.